Hi, I'm Marsha Mason from Rancho Cordova Arts. This is the third video I've done about painting leaves and foliage in watercolor. The first dealt with how to mix your own pairs of blues and yellows to make greens. The second was about using pre-mixed convenience greens as a base. And today we're going to explore the other colors of leaves. We'll save the discussion of how the time of day affects the colors of foliage for another video. So, why aren't all plants green? Well, they are actually. Green is a pigment within the green chloroplasts, the little factories that turn sunlight into energy for the plant. And all plants have that pigment chlorophyll in them all year long, and that tends to dominate what we see, the green. But sometimes that green is hidden by other pigments and biomolecules. These perform other functions in the plants, like helping the photosynthesis process or protecting the plant. Some of these colors show themselves throughout the plant cycle, but others show themselves in the fall, for instance, when a deciduous leaf stops turning sunlight into energy and the chlorophyll starts to die off. Now let's take a look at some real leaves. It's late spring here, so I don't have any brilliant fall colors, but we have some lovely purples here. You can kind of see it's a red violet that's turning up here. Here's a plant, Teucrium, that has a lot of blue in it. And then here are some plants that have a dulled out orange to them. You can see those citrus leaves. This is a camellia blossom that fell, apricot leaves, I believe, and then we have some oak leaves, and these have brown tannin in them. So we've got a nice little selection of these. What we want to do is use real plants to see where we're going with our color mixing, because we don't want to just go on what's in our heads. That sometimes that concept is unexamined, so I like to look at the real thing. I'm going to focus on the oranges today and the purple. Most dead plants are going to end up in the dulled orange range of hue and chroma. Now I want to show you how to use 1, 2, or 3 single pigment paints to get these foliage colors that reveal themselves when the chlorophyll isn't the dominant pigment anymore. So, single colors. We're going to go to the earth colors. I need a bigger table. Okay, leave our oranges right there so we can see them. And, okay, single colors. I thought I would show you some burnt sienna. And I've got some raw sienna here. This is the raw sienna right there. You can see we're pretty close already to some of these colors. And here's a little, well, this is much redder. Here's a burnt sienna. Put a little more water on that. There we go. Alrighty, now these are a little bit too bright, so let's use a mixing complement for that yellow ochre and see if this will work to dull it down just a little bit. Don't need it to be dulled down much. Okay. There we go. This is our dulled down burnt sienna. Now we're using 2 pigments, I guess, technically. But you can see that's closer, especially if we put it on a little thicker. And then the burnt sienna I'm going to dull down with some ultramarine blue. Let's see if we can get that to work. If it doesn't, we'll try something else. Okay. Well, it does. It's still an orange. Well, not very orange. Let's add a little bit more back in. There we go. This is our dulled burnt sienna. So anyway, you can see that the earth colors do get pretty close. They just need a little bit more dulling down. Now, talking about mixing pairs of single pigment paints, we learned that if you want bright secondary colors, bright orange, you use the warm red and the warm yellow. But we want a dull orange, so we're going to move farther away on the color wheel, and so that we can get these dulled down oranges. So let us mix. Let's see. Let's take a cool yellow. This is a Benz yellow. And let's mix it with a magenta. Now that's a pretty strong mixing color. Oh yes, perfect. Okay, here's our, yes. Okay, you can see how very close that's getting to some of these oranges. Very dull, but a little more accurate. Okay, I'm going to add a little more. There we go. And I have used magenta right out of the tube, because sometimes on plants you'll see a cool red color that's actually pretty bright. It's for some poppies right under the petals. There's a little band of magenta, very pretty. Okay, there we go. So that's about as dull as we get, and you can see that these are dull too. So we're pretty much in the range there of what you need to do to get dull oranges. Now, the other strategy is to use a convenience green. And the last video was about using, I wanted to show you these first. These are charts I've made of yellows. This is a nice botanical yellow, the nickel azo yellow, pigment yellow 150. And this was a quinacridone violet, pigment violet 19. And that's actually the one I used to dull down the earth colors here. Here's perylene maroon with the same transparent yellow. And a green gold. Okay, these are the ones I wanted to show you. You can see we've got some pretty dull violets out here and some pretty dull, well, not in that one, some pretty dull oranges right here. Now, convenience greens are pre-mixed paints, and it's important to know what's in them. So when I showed these in the previous video, we learned that the permanent magenta right here was a color that would take us into the oranges. Well, this morning I added some more permanent magenta and took it starting with this kind of color and moved it all the way into the plums. So we can get our oranges here and we can get our plums. The same goes for this convenience green. This is sap green. Oh, this light one is leaf green, Holbein leaf green. This sap green has 3 colors in it. And so I took where we had the permanent magenta and added more to get a dull violet color. Here we have some oranges that came with our burnt sienna, with our Pyrrole red, and so I did a column, or rather a row, of the magenta that happens to be in this mix, one of the ingredients, along with the phthalo green and the transparent yellow. So let's do a little mixing with a convenience green and just watch how that works. This is our sap green that has the 3 colors in it. I'll just put that right here. There we go. Now, when it's all by itself, we get a nice dull green. There we go. But let's add a little bit of this permanent magenta to it, and we will go for our purple. No, yeah, I think actually that's pretty darn close. Let's see how we're doing on that. Oh, a little more magenta. I recommend that you never throw away little scraps of your watercolor paper. You can always use them for testing as you go along. Okay, now we're talking. Here is a very nice dulled purple, and it's going to dry a little bit different color, but you can see we're pretty darn close there with our convenience green and the permanent magenta. And let's take and actually I'm going to add a little phthalo blue to that because I want it to be, whoa, that's strong. Your paints, your pigments all have different strengths of mixing, and when you mix together colors that are about the same mixing strength, it's a lot easier than when one is super strong color in mixing and the other is not, but it is doable. Holy moly, that is intense. Wow, look at that. Well, I added a little bit of phthalo to that because I wanted it to be a little bluer, a little darker, and the phthalo blue did that. Anyway, you can see how you do the convenience green, using it as a home base and then adding different things to get the color that you're looking for. Let's do an orange with our convenience green and our burnt sienna right here, and we'll get we'll see how close we can get to that. Okay, come here. Get a fresh one. Okay, that might be a little bit. There we go. This is a little too intense, at least wet, but we're kind of on track for some of this. I'm going to add a little more burnt sienna to that and see how close we can get. There we go. You can see that it is possible to reach there. Now, a long time ago, I went out and looked at purple leaf plum leaves, which actually weren't too different from this new rose leaf. Very purple, and I mixed a couple red, yellow, and blues to get to the color that I wanted, and it worked both times. I used a permanent rose, a cad yellow, and a French ultramarine blue. Down here I used a deeper, darker, richer permanent magenta with my cad yellow and French ultramarine blue, and was able to get that. Now you can probably use most red, yellow, blue, whatever you've got in your palette already. Experiment with it and see what you can get by increasing the amount of magenta. And this is how I start when I'm using 3 colors like that. I will start with the color that's closest to what I want. So step 1 is the magenta. Okay. Step 2 is I want a color that is a little bluer. Here we go. It's not much bluer, but I think it is a little bluer. So I'm going to add just a little bit of French ultramarine blue to that. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so we've got this kind of color. Now I need to dull it. And we dull it with a mixing complement. Let's try our transparent yellow and see if we can get there. That actually might work pretty well. I've added quite a lot of water to that paint, so we're not going to get the deep darks, but let's try this, yes, and this. Yeah. More. Yes, I think I did it again. Actually, I may try, since this isn't coming out super dark, there's with a little yellow in it. Since this isn't coming out super dark, I'm going to use a blue that might get me to the darkness a little quicker. So let's try that. I'm going to use a phthalo blue. It'll also do the job of, part of the job at least, of dulling my magenta because these this red and this blue are farther apart on the color wheel. And that is what we're going for. Okay. Now I'm going to add a yellow. This is a Benz yellow. Let's see if I can do this without totally overwhelming. I think I'm going to put a little more in there. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, I'd say that's a little too blue. So we'll add a little more magenta. See what we get. Well, we're getting there. We're on track. There we go. When you see this color right next to the greens in the leaves, it really is sharp. Oh, it's not that. And they kind of mix too on the leaves. So you get some real interesting and pretty variations. I'll just put that there so it'll mix on the paper a bit. So that's the strategy for using 3 colors. You can use these or whatever's in your palette and see if you can get there from here. Now, have fun with it. It's just really fun to play with paints. So the key point to all of this, though, is that whatever paints you choose, your foliage needs to work within the context of your painting, and that includes 3 things. It's the overall values, the darkness or lightness in your painting. It's what plants you're painting. You know, fertilized lawn looks a lot yellower than a blued out cactus. And you've got the brightness and the color, the hue of the light that's shining on it. And that's what we're going to talk about next time, is how sunlight and the time of day affects the colors of your foliage. Now, if you do a painting, make a painting, we encourage you to post a photo of it on Rancho Cordova Arts Facebook page. Rancho Cordova Arts and I thank you for watching. Stay creative, and I'll be back with more videos.